My GF threatened to break up with me if I got a paternity test on our daughter. I got a court-ordered paternity test. Am I the asshole for not letting her backtrack? I, 27M, and my now ex, 24F, were together for 4 years. During our first year or so, I gained a significant amount of weight, about 50 pounds. I was already chubby when we started dating. She encouraged me to lose the weight given my family history of diabetes. So, I worked out and changed my diet and lost the weight over 10 months or so. About that same time, she got pregnant with our daughter. During the pregnancy, I kept up with my diet and exercise routine. I lost another almost 50 pounds. During the pregnancy, my girlfriend seemed to feel some type of way about my diet and exercise. She wanted me to slow it down or relax my routine. I did not. First, I still had some weight I wanted to lose. But also, I just felt so much better in my body through what I was doing. After we had our daughter, our relationship started deteriorating. At first, it was snide remarks. Then it became insinuations about me flirting with coworkers. I am a nurse. And then it became full-on accusations of cheating. I was not cheating or doing anything of the sort. I suggested counseling. We did some sessions of couples counseling. The counselor made some suggestions on things we each could be doing better to communicate and support each other. But my ex did not want to continue going. The accusations became more constant. Also, my ex started doing things where she would leave the house, go somewhere, like the store, which was 10 minutes away. But she would be gone for 2 to 3 hours at a time. I started thinking the accusations were projections. I confronted her and said, I think she's projecting, and that she is the one cheating. She would say, I am not, and walk away with a smirk. This went on for some months, and I asked for a paternity test. She said if I got a paternity test on our daughter, our relationship was over. Her behavior did not change. I got a recommendation for a lawyer and reached out about my situation. She said I could get a court-mandated paternity test, and that since my daughter was so young, I could still legally be no longer financially responsible for her if I am not the father. So she filed an action on my behalf to figure out paternity. My ex broke up with me immediately and moved in with her sister and with our daughter. After the court ordered the paternity test, my ex was very apologetic and said she was not cheating, but that she was trying to make me think she was through her actions so I would know how it feels. She was willing to go to counseling. I told her I was not backing off. The test results came back. I'm the father. Afterwards, my ex has continued to say she is sorry and that she wants to work things out. I am moving forward with getting a court order on custody and child support. Am I the asshole for not taking her back? Comment by Inevitable Potato 172 says, not the asshole. She just didn't think you would go through with the paternity test if she put some pressure on you. Joke's on her. Now she gets to deal with the ultimatum SHE pose. And by her own admission, she wanted you to think she was cheating. So you wanting a test in the first place is her fault too. Also, WTF is up with making you think she was cheating so you would know how it feels? What does she gain from that? Maybe she thought you were when you weren't and wanted you to think the same, which is just crazy. Keep her as your ex and good luck with your daughter. Comment by COD number 7461 says, I don't. It rather screams self-confidence issues to me. She is probably superficial, then pushed Opie to lose weight partly because of it, then realized Opie is getting more attractive and maybe more attractive than her, suddenly spiraling due to postpartum stress and weak character, leading to trying to pay it back to Opie somehow. My impression, anyway. The only times I even considered my wife would cheat was at my low points, and I'm very certain I will never cheat for both moral reasons, and that I simply would not enjoy it. Our next post says, am I the asshole for not wanting to help my mom and her fiancé with his disabled child? I, 20M, moved out of my mom's 42F house a couple of years ago when I went to college. Until 10 months ago, I had my own room there, but her fiancé, 45M, and his 2 kids, 6M and 4F, moved in with her. The 4-year-old has a host of disabilities. I know they have a seizure disorder and a condition called osteogenesis imperfecta, but I believe there's another one involving paralysis or spasms of the stomach/esophagus. My mom took classes for over 2 months before her fiancé moved in, so she would know how to take care of his daughter. Her fiance's ex is totally out of the picture, so mom decided she would need to step up completely, which I get. I've been back twice since mom's fiance moved in with his kids. The first time was at Christmas, and I stayed with my grandparents because my old room went to 4-year-old and there was no spare room for me. My mom was disappointed, but I pointed out it would stop me getting in the way of their routine too. The second time was late June/early July. I was home for a few weeks and again stayed with my grandparents. Mom offered to buy a pull-out bed for me, but I said I was good with my grandparents. When I was home, and whenever I went to mom's, I was asked if I had looked into taking the same classes mom had, or if I'd like them to set me up with them. I said no and asked why I'd need to take them. Mom said she had hoped I would want to help them. She said it would mean I could step in if an emergency came up, and I told mom she'd be better to find someone professional for that, because I was not taking on that responsibility. Her fiance asked if I'm just never going to stay at the house, and I said yes. I told them I would have zero privacy if I slept there, and it wouldn't benefit any of us. I pointed out how they'd be so busy anyway that I wouldn't have time with mom that much, and I'd get just as much staying somewhere else and planning ahead of time to visit when she's not super busy. Her fiancé then said it sounded like I didn't want to learn how to care for his daughter and planned to be limitedly involved with him and his kids. I said I'll see them when I see mom, but I won't be signing up for babysitting or future caregiver responsibilities. Mom and I went for a walk together after I said that, and she told me she got it, but that she hoped I'd be willing. She said it's a lot to ask, and I don't even live that close anymore, so it would never be all the time, but she asked me if I was really that unwilling to even give them a few hours off when I would visit. She said it would be so helpful. I told her I would visit and want to spend time with her, but babysitting her future stepkids was not in my plans, and especially not one so medically complex and in need of specific care. She was upset, but let it go. Her fiancé is holding a grudge about it. He brought it up to my grandparents when Christmas was brought up. They said they got the feeling. He was also annoyed they gave me a place to stay during my visits because it gives me an excuse not to get close with his kids and therefore be more willing to learn how to take care of his daughter. Am I the asshole? Comment by SlenderBoss23 says, this is a heavy ask for anyone, let alone someone who doesn't live there and didn't sign up for it. If they need real respite care, that's what professionals are for, not the college-age son of the fiancé. It's good you were clear now instead of half committing, and then resenting it later. Comment by Kinda Rightish says, honestly, it's wild to me that your mom would give up seeing you for a couple of hours when you're able to visit to have you babysit her stepkids, especially as you don't/can't visit often. She decided she would take on the role and responsibility of being their mom and what looking after a medically complex child entails. You didn't and don't have to. In case of an emergency, it would make much more sense to have someone who is local to them and knows the kids to step in, like a member of her/fiancé's family or a close friend of theirs. Not the asshole. Our next story says, am I the asshole for not letting my brother come stay with me to make up for being the golden child/favorite child? I, 20M, have a brother, 18M. And growing up, he always saw me as our parents' favorite kid. And I think a lot of people saw it that way. But in reality, I was the chosen child. My parents paid way more attention to me and were more involved in my life. But they didn't like me or anything about me. Instead, they tried to mold me into the child of their dreams while they ignored my brother. We were treated differently, and he thinks I always had everything I wanted when I got nothing I wanted. My parents moved me from public to private school when I was 7, even though I hated private school and liked my old school. They said I needed the best education. My schedule was filled with extracurriculars my parents wanted me to take, like football because every young man needs a team sport and a chance to be a star, debate because every young man needs to learn how to hold an argument and fight for what he believes in, piano for sophistication, and swimming, because I needed to be more active. I didn't like any of that stuff, or at least not in that context. I lived swimming, but not competitively, and I was forced to be competitive with it. I had no interest in football or piano, and when I asked to play different things, my parents ignored me. Debate just plain sucked, and I wasn't good at it, which meant my parents actually paid people to tutor me in debate. And when I asked to drop it, they ignored me. They had a way of not even acknowledging that you spoke, even if you repeated yourself over and over. They bought me a lot of clothes, but they chose everything from my shoes to my socks to the actual outfits. I wasn't allowed to wear sweats outside of the gym or practices. Jeans had to be a certain style. I couldn't wear character shirts or wear fun socks. Even my underwear was chosen 100% by them, and I had zero say. Most of the time, they didn't even take me shopping for the stuff, they just gave them to me. I had obligations to attend their parties with friends where they could show me off and boast about me. But it wasn't even really me. I wasn't the amazing football player who was hoping to go pro like they used to suggest. I hated every second of football, and I got more injuries because of it. Not that they cared. All the amazing grades for all the amazing classes I took, my classes were chosen by my parents, not me, and it was expected I would get straight A's in everything and win awards. My brother never saw the time our parents berated me for 3 hours because I got C's and D's when I was 16 because I was so fucking miserable. But they did. They told me how I needed to pull myself together. And they knew what they were doing, and I just needed to do what they said. Anytime I got something they didn't like, whether it was a book they didn't want me reading or a poster for something I liked but didn't get to enjoy at home, they destroyed it. I remember using money someone gave me and buying an Avatar-ing Funko Pop I thought looked cool, and I kept it in my room, and it took up hardly any space. They broke it and tossed it in the trash, and said it was not the kind of thing I should have. I graduated with grades my parents hated, and we fought that day because they saw I had packed up and was leaving. When my brother saw me, he thought our parents were sending me somewhere cool, and he told me to go fuck myself and die. In reality, I was homeless for a while and landed on my feet once I got a trainee position at my job. I'm only now just on my feet, and none of it had anything to do with my parents. I don't have access to their money anymore, and I don't want it. The other week, my brother called, and he said he was moving in with me, and I needed to tell him where. I was like, wait, what? And he started yelling, and he told me Mom and Dad's golden child doesn't get to say anything, but yes, because I need to make all those years where I was a favorite up to him. I told him all the stuff I said here and repeatedly reminded him none of that was true, and that the times I brought stuff up to him before I was not lying. He told me he didn't believe me and said I needed to stop pretending. And I'm an AH if I won't help him because he deserves that and more from me. But I won't let him stay just to treat me like shit. And I told him that, and all he said was I was a spoiled asshole. Am I the asshole? Comment by Not a Queef Khaleesi says, not the asshole. I had a somewhat similar experience in that I was expected to make my mom look good through academic success and maintaining a house. But my sister was a favorite to the point of my mom making me homeless in the middle of winter to appease my sister. She later asked me to pay her mortgage while I was still homeless/couch surfing and cried when I said no. I would say block him and move on because he likely won't change, and if he does, it won't be anytime soon. My sister had me kicked out and expected me to pay for, drive, load, and unload the U-Haul for her to move into our mom's house. She had a meltdown when she found out she was blocked, and my mom tried to guilt me about it. The only thing that makes me happy about it all now is that they're making each other miserable without their ATM/live-in housekeeper/punching bag as a buffer, and I'm healing and thriving far away from it all. Comment by Melodic Dark 6545 says, not the asshole at all. Your brother is taking out his anger to the wrong person. He's really angry at your parents for ignoring him, and he has every single right to be. But he says he has the right for you to make up for him. That's your parents' job, not yours. Your brother can believe or not what you told him, and that's his choice. But even if his perception was the correct one, you were the golden one. You're not the one that has to make it up to him. That's your parents' job. It's to no surprise that he calls you names for not obeying his orders. And you are so fed up of orders. You are doing the right thing not letting him move with you. Because if you let him this will be a cascade of you have to do/give me stuff because you owe me. You don't owe him a things. Your parents do. Our next story says, am I the asshole for asking my dad why I should include his wife if he plans to never include my boyfriend? I, 19 female, have been dating Leo, 19 male, for over a year now. We've known each other since we were 6, and we've been a part of the same friend group since we met. My parents, Mom and Dad, both knew him from a young age, and he was really sweet when my mom died. Dad even commented back then about how kind he was to me. My dad has been with his wife for 2 years now, and they've been married for 6 months. Ever since I told my dad I was dating Leo, he's been so different about him. I got shit for bringing him to a family party in June, and Dad said it was inappropriate to bring just anyone to a family party. I ran it by the relative hosting, and they were fine with it. My dad never complained about friends joining before. Dad and his wife have shown up unannounced when Leo and I were hanging out, and they wanted to leave him out. Dad makes it a big deal if I want to include Leo ever. It's not even all the time. Both of them were really off with Leo when dropped by unannounced a couple weeks ago too, and this led to a fight. Leo went on a grocery run, and I confronted my dad. I asked Dad why he was being like that, and how did he expect me to want him to visit if he'd be that way. His wife said they don't like seeing me be in such a serious relationship, and the fact I'm bringing him to things is strange when he's not family, and he's just a partner, and I should listen to them. I asked her who she was to say that. Dad said she's right, and she's his wife in our family. He said it's so totally different. I told him he would never have let me treat her that way before they were married either. He claimed it was still different, and I should be willing to spend time with them without Leo. And I have BTW. I have visited on my own and met for lunch without Leo. He's not always there, but we go to the same college, and we're living together with some friends for the summer, and we'll be full-time moving in together in a couple of weeks. But anyway, Dad said Leo isn't family, and some stuff should be just for family. So I asked why his wife was always there. I asked why I should include her if he won't ever include Leo. She's not in my family after all. Why it was any of his wife's business when she's got no say on my life? Dad said she's family, they're married. I asked again would I need to marry Leo for things to change again, and he just said it's different. His wife said I had no business in validating her, and she's the future grandmother of my children. I told her good luck with that. She's not my mother, and she will never be their grandmother, and since we're excluding partners, that's all she'll ever be, married or not, since that's what Dad's saying he'll do. Dad told me that was enough, and he never said that. I told him he keeps saying it's different, and not that marriage would change anything, so I see no reason to include his wife. I then made them leave, which they did not do easily. They want to keep the fight going, but I told them I was done. They're now angry I invalidated his wife by asking about including her and saying she won't be the future grandmother. But I stand by it. My kids might not know Grandpa if he's a dick to their dad and want to act like he doesn't exist. Am I the asshole? Comment by Ototo88 says, your father and his wife are being hypocritical and unfair. They're using their marital status as a shield to justify their own inclusion in family events while actively excluding your long-term boyfriend, Leo, who you've known for most of your life. The fact that your dad was previously kind to Leo and even comment on how sweet he was makes his sudden change in behavior even more confusing and hurtful. Your father's argument that Leo isn't family is weak, especially when he expects you to include his wife, who has only been in his life for a short time and is not your mother. His claim that marriage would change things is a way of moving the goalposts and controlling your relationship. The real issue seems to be a power struggle where your dad is trying to dictate who you can and cannot include in your life. His wife's comment that they don't want to see you in a serious relationship is a major red flag and shows their disrespect for your choices. You are right to stand your ground. Your feelings are valid, and you have every right to want your partner to be included in your life, especially as a kind and supportive person. The next time your dad or his wife tries to exclude Leo, state your position calmly but firmly. For example, Dad, I understand you feel that way, but Leo is an important part of my life. If he isn't welcome at a family event, then I won't be able to attend either. This makes it clear that their exclusion of Leo directly impacts your participation, forcing them to consider the consequences of their actions. When your father insists his wife is family, you can gently point out the double standard. You've already started doing this, which is great. You could say, I'm confused. You didn't consider your wife family before you married her, yet you expect me to accept her now. Leo has been in my life for years. Why is your marriage the only thing that validates a person's place in the family? This challenges his logic directly and might make him realize how unreasonable he's being. If the fighting continues and becomes too stressful, you might consider taking a short break from regularly seeing your dad and his wife. You don't have to announce it as a formal break, but you can simply be less available for visits. You can say something like, "Things have been really tense lately, and I need some space. I'll reach out when I feel ready to talk again." This gives you time to decompress and shows them that their behavior has consequences beyond just an argument. And today, comment by Impossible Balance 11 says, "Extreme control is what this is about. The unmitigated gall of them to show up unannounced, then demand your BF leave the premises. Where are my smelling salts?" They are behaving like people who are just begging you to go and see with them soon as you're financially able. Of course, this will mean zero access to any children you may have eventually as well. And that whole my house, my rules thing will apply when they try coming around the place you'll be renting with Leo. His house, too. Keep having his back. And don't cede your dad and his hugely overstepping wife any ground. For what it's worth, I'm pushing 60, have 5 kids, and I'd never dream of treating any of them and their partners like this.